Hey everyone, this is Tom from MonTac here, and we are back at again with another match of the week. And this time we have got the pro champion, newly crowned pro champion Bob, taking on their challenger ZweiStein, who is aiming to become the second player in history to reach 5 pro title reigns. If they win this, they will tie Misfire's record, who is currently a former 5-time pro champion, and that drastically changed the talks of who was the greatest of all time. Let's see how they go. Obviously, we've recently had some pretty big nerfs recently. Oh my gosh, looks like we're going Veggies from ZweiStein. The Silencer has returned. It is one of his best decks that he's ever used and led to one of his most dominant reigns as a pro champion. Also, one of the most horrible matchups for Bob. One of their biggest rivals, Crimson, uses Vigilantes, and this is surely going to cause some shocking memories for Bob. Going into Vigilante Casualty, classic Vigilante plays. As I was saying previously, we did have some quite major format shifts with a lot of the constant cards starting to get detuned in the last week, so they're not going to be seeing as much play, or at least as not expected, leaving the meta completely wide open. And it looks like ZweiStein believes Vigilantes are the answer to the current meta. Let's see how things play out. The people are tuning in to watch this matchup, as Bob, who has been a huge favorite of the community, is now finally getting the chance to defend the pro title they just recently won. The question is, can they stop ZweiStein, who is an incredible championship reign ender? Someone that a lot of the big guns have to deal with at some stage to really reach that next top tier level. ZweiStein is just that guy in terms of gauging whether you are championship material. And as for Bob, well, we're going to see how he goes. But right now, he came into this matchup as the underdog, even as champion. But if he can pull off this win here, wins over Minismoke and then ZweiStein, will surely change the community's thoughts. Thank you again to Minismoke for judging this matchup. Gauging their thoughts. ZweiStein generally does play a little bit slower, but it does suit his control vibes. He's normally building around Bladeborn Angels, so the quick change to Vigilantes is definitely unusual. And we're starting over the roll of 6. That's very nice for Bob, because that roll of 6 will allow them to play any card. As you may or may not know, MonTac is about rolling a 6-sided die, and what you roll is what you play, with that roll and below being playable. Just to clarify there. So with a roll of 6, that just gives them any opportunity, but it also means your enemy has the opportunity to respond with a bunch of stuff, so it does have its handicap. We'll have to see how this goes. We're going Cannon Templar, both players using completely different decks. So it looks like we're going to go Cannon Templar. So they're going to use Cannon Templar specialty. Is going to use Cannon Templar specialty to send 2 monsters from deck to the parish part. Or is it? What's? Yeah, it's 2. And they're sending 2 Mono Bladers. Okay, so what just happened here? They played a Steel Edge Cannon Templar regardless of class by sending 2 monsters from the deck to the parish pile. He then gains the original power of both monsters sent, hitting 1600, 3350 Templar in total, and then those monsters he sent will then both activate. He sacks 2 health points, because each of them require you to sacrifice 1 health point to add a tactical, or a, I think it's just, is it a tactical? I think it's just add a card from the deck to your hand, and then it can play regardless of class. So interesting choices there. Starlit Wrath and a Afflicted Avenger, both of which don't see as much play as they should. And now with ZweiStein using this strategy, it's quite interesting. Ooh, so we're going to use a Discourse to send Coconut Hut to add a Coconut to hand. Now both Coconut Huts during his next preparation stage will be playable regardless of class. But even now, ZweiStein has he's got the roll 6 to work with, so he doesn't really have to wait too much. Let's see what happens here. Apologies for that little quick there, but yeah, no, there's a lot going on in this quick little turn. Templars at 3350, definitely bigger than everything else on the field, and bigger than what ZweiStein will be able to play off Casualty. Casualty, basically, if you missed what that card does, is you can select a Vigilante you command. When it perishes, you may play a Vigilante from your deck, and it gains 1300. If you have none in your deck, you can play it from your perish pile. Holy smokes, we're going Impact Reinforcement. So this could be an Impact deck right now, and if so, that'll be very interesting. Very kind of difficult for ZweiStein, I'm not going to lie. And then we're going to go Tacticalism Impact, playing that, which will allow them to send a Tacticalism from their asset pile to the perish pile to bring out a, I imagine, Impact Warrior token. Oh no, sorry, they're playing the secondary effect. That will add up to 3 impact cards from the deck to their hand. That's pretty good. Okay, just calculating now how many times an impact card has been played. This is relevant for a card called Impact Phoenix coming up. Basically what this card does is it gains, I think it's 200 for each impact cards you played this game. So yeah, that will come in handy later. And we're going to go Synergy Impact. Synergy Impact is a very strong strategy that did slide off in the last few moments with Constance taking over, but now Impact has been given clear reign to activate, and this is a very strong strategy based around giving up your asset pile, which is a heavy cost, but it does give you a bunch of 3,000 power tokens that can't be popped or spun back. Yes, in MonTac, these tokens actually can't be spun back. It's a cool little mechanic they have. So we're going to play Coconut Hut. Bob cannot sacrifice the 4 to remove it, which is really going to suck. Let's see what happens here. Bob has got a lot of options now with Synergy Impact open. Allows them to open up their entire field, really. And we're going to go Starlit Wrath now. The question is, will ZweiStein sack the 4 to get rid of Starlit Wrath? Potentially. We'll have to see. Coconut Hut is a traditionally good strategy with lower class monsters. It sends them to your asset pile. During the next preparation stage, you may play that card from your asset pile. It gains 1,000, and also when you send it, you gain 2 health. Pretty simple card, but it also got a class change to make it a class 4, harder to play out. But it seems ZweiStein has found a way to circumvent this, as any former champion should. Now, in this situation, Bob is going for Phoenix now, so he's really not messing around. Phoenix is going to be pretty big here. Even with the special removal that Vigilantes have, I'm not sure they're able to contend with something this dangerous. Rather, they can special remove the Phoenix but still be dealing with Templars and still be dealing with Warriors. It's going to be a very interesting matchup here. So we're going to go Reinforcement into Reinforcement again, which will allow them to get all of the counters they wish. Okay, this is interesting. So they've just used both of their, I believe it's their first effect, to add 4 counters to that impact. Really speeds that up very quickly. Templar is looking very strong at multiple attacks, and Impact is looking very big as well. All of them have 2 attacks, and we're going to go into Oppression Destroyer Sword to search for a Destroyer Sword card and play it. Let's see what he's going for. Going into main deck. It is a Destroyer Sword card, so they can play. They're going to go for Curse Breaker. Okay, this is starting to get a little bit aggressive, and I can tell you right now, ZweiStein is starting to feel the heat, because right now we have got 6 attacks on board, and through adding infantry to hand, this will give that Curse Breaker even more attacks. I can promise you right now, ZweiStein is starting to feel the pressure. This isn't necessarily lethal, but really anything could happen here to change that. So now they're just having a look. Now we've got 6 attacks on board. Dan is going to be strong here, but it's sending into Darius is good. He's got more than enough to deal with that Darius though. Sacking forward to remove Starlit Wrath, which might be costly. The reason I think it might be costly is the fact that Bob can still get a bunch of attacks on that Curse Breaker if he should so choose, and we'll have to see if ZweiStein is aware. So Darius comes from the field, as expected, 3,000. Darius is a very strong card. Take a moment to read that. Basically, I'll sum it up very quickly. He specially moves monsters, and when he specially moves, he gets a lot of power. So he's at 3,000 right now from the Vigilante Casualty activation, so he can definitely still attack with Impact Phoenix. I would imagine that's the play right now. There you go, taking on them. If Darius goes down here, that'll be pretty good for Bob. It's not necessarily, actually technically could be lethal, really. Bob would actually have 3 attacks if they can cycle Destroyer Swords. Now, ZweiStein of course would have access to something else, but it's putting him in a very compromising position if he lets this through. Let's see if he decides to block this. That's assuming he does have a way to block it, of course. This is only the second turn, by the way. This is crazy for already. Let's see. Definitely very long turns, but there is a lot happening in them. This is a major setup that will be utilized later in the game. Let's see what we're looking at. ZweiStein weighing up their options now. And they're letting Darius through! Wow, I did not expect that. I thought that Darius was getting blocked 100%. Wow. Wow, okay, so that's huge, because Darius is such a key part of Vigilantes. Losing that early is... I think maybe he's trying to make sure he has an OTK protection, but he's got now infantry using it there. I imagine it'd be secondary effect. Going into oppression. And now goes to 2 attacks. Cursebreaker now has 2 attacks. If he uses oppression again, he would technically have 3 attacks on that Cursebreaker, which would be enough for lethal right now. It will immediately force ZweiStein to play something from asset, I imagine. We'll have to see though. There we go, infantry secondary effect. That gets Cursebreaker up to 3 attacks, which means ZweiStein will be forced to defend, or he will lose the game right off the bat. Titan Destroyer Sword now into hand, great for dealing with those bigger enemy monsters. Going for lethal with 3 attacks. If ZweiStein can't stop this, it is over. Did he put in the right card to defend? If he did not, this is over. This is assuming he's got null factor. If he doesn't have null factor, this game is over right now. ZweiStein weighing up his options. Only the second turn, and we are looking at a very fast assault. A lot of these pro matchups do get very intense. The thoughts process. We're going to use a regen from hand to take all 3 damage. So regen gives you 2 health, which will bump ZweiStein up to 5, and then they'll take all 3 damage from Cursebreaker. Really good turn for Bob there. Gotta be honest, I'm pretty impressed with that. Great start. Let's see if they can keep it up. So just having a look now. They're just going to shuffle the deck and refill their cards. Coconut Hut. Having that, I believe it's Jared in the asset pile. ZweiStein wanted to not forget that. Roll of 1. This is going to be rough. Let's see what happens. Does ZweiStein forget Discourse here? If he forgets Discourse, it will not be played regardless of class. It's not a huge drop, not a huge negative, but he needs to remember Discourse here if he forgets it. For instance, basically with the Discourse, what I'm talking about is when he sent the Coconut Hut to the Perish pile to then add another Coconut Hut to hand, during his next preparation stage, he has to add the Coconut that he sent to the Perish pile to his hand. He has to basically add that to his hand to make it regardless of class. Sorry, I can't trail it off there. Basically, the card he sent to the Perish pile, he has to add back to his hand for that regardless of class clause to activate. Just have a quick look now. That is a quick read of what the card does. So they're going to bring out Dan now. Dan's going to search another Vigilante card. Vigilante Tactical, I believe. So that will be either Vigilante Intimidation or Vigilante Casualty. Probably will be Casualty, but we'll see. Maybe he'll change up his tactics. So we're going to go Vigilante Intimidation. Very strong play there from ZweiStein. Vigilante is looking very good right now, I'm not going to lie. But I'm not sure if they're ready for impact. Going back into the answer pile to gain some health points, that will be very good for ZweiStein. Bob's definitely going to be annoyed by the Coconut Hut continually activating. It's actually a card inspired by his, I think it was his prize card as part of the, was it January 2023 rookie tournament? Instead of the normal prize, he asked for his favorite pet toad to be immortalized in the card game, and we were happy to be obliging, and that is where Tim came from. And yeah, it's been really fun ever since. And he also got his own little Coconut Hut. So it's his favorite little place that he used to live in. So those became a part of the game, and the community have absolutely loved playing around with them. And now Coconut Hut is being used against him, so you can only imagine his thoughts and feelings on that one. Just weighing up their thoughts. ZweiStein, ever the control player, he does not... definitely not the most explosive player, I will admit. He does not like OTKs, and he loves to play control. He has played some aggro tactics, but I will admit he does either play aggro tactics in the late game, or he just plays control the whole time. So that is the style of ZweiStein. It has definitely led into a lot of success in the competitive space, but it does mean his turns take a while. Oh, that's interesting. Jigsaw Giant Ossicip here is scary, in the sense that it can deal... Oh, this is actually very scary. Is he going to Oskip Lock Bob? If he does, this could be very nasty. Oh dear, this could be very nasty. That is very, very nasty. Okay, so what the Oskip Lock is generally when you make your Ossicip go into a turmoiled Ossicip, and then give it to your enemy, board wiping them, and then they basically can't gain health the rest of the game. Oh no, good, so they're not going to do that. Okay, so we're going to avoid the Ossicip Lock. We're still going to board wipe everything except for Phoenix. Basically what Ossicip does, gives it to your enemy, board wipes them beforehand, and then while your enemy commands it, they can't gain health. Which is really good for burn decks, so I'm a little bit curious as to why ZweiStein has gone that route at the moment against Impact. Or I should say, with Vigilantes. Going for Troy. This is a very interesting build. This could be Vigilante Angel, to be honest. He's played that very close to the vest. Even the spectators are annoyed by this. Angels and Vigilantes both having very dominant reigns in the meta, but only recently starting to slip, and now it looks like they've come back with a little bit of a combination. I'm not sure we've seen Vigilante Angels. I think we have seen maybe once before, but definitely not recently. This is a very unusual build, but it looks like he might be building a, was it Beowulf Vigilante strategy, which is generally, you would think, very unusual, because Beowulf is a strategy that focuses on having a specialty. and Vigilantes are commonly used to counter Beowulf strategy, so them both being in the same deck is very interesting. Going for Star Hand, and Bob cannot gain health points from this because they command an Ossakip. That is definitely brutal, and will give ZweiStein the ability to add any 5 cards from the deck to their hand. Normally, what would make this card okay and fair and balanced is the fact that Bob gains health for each card ZweiStein adds, but like I said previously, Ossakip prevents Bob from gaining health, which means Star Hand is just add any 5 cards from deck to hand. Very strong play from ZweiStein, but again, he's going to need to really capitalize here. Going in for Star Hand again. Just going to draw the 5, adding all the entire cards in their deck to their hand. That is an excess of 10 cards in hand. That might be around 14 or 13. I don't know exactly. But that is a lot of cards in their hand right now. Just waiting the decision. Holy smokes, might be looking at even higher than that. Like 15 or so. I mean, I don't know. That seems like a lot of cards. Yeah, there's a lot of cards in that hand right there. Will you be able to capitalize is the question. Sometimes having so many options can be disorientating when trying to plan out your strategy. You're tempted to use these options a little bit early when potentially you should hold back a little bit. And that can lead to a player burning out. As you can see, Bob still has 12 cards left in deck and a quite large hand anyway. But we'll have to see how this plays out. I'm not sure what... They definitely can special move the Phoenix. And with this roll of 1, that will limit ZweiStein in terms of what they can really play from hand, as that limits them to only Class 1 monsters. And I believe both their Dans are either in play, you can see there, or they're perished. So that will give them a lot less options than they would have anticipated. It's crazy to believe this is only the 3rd turn. This is definitely a very slow game, but that was to be expected at this stage. Both players taking a lot of time with their turns. We'll have to see how this goes. A lot of decisions that can be made. Even now you can start to hear ZweiStein is starting to wake up so many different options. There's just so many cards in his hand. It's going to be very hard for him to make a line of play that he'll be happy with, considering he has just so many options. However, this is for the pro title, so you got to take the time that you want to make this work. There's no time limit to the matchup, so there's really no benefit to taking this time except for just playing it the best you can. Commonly you will see a lot of really slow players at the really high levels because any mistake could be problematic. Let's see what we're going to do here. So I start taking a lot of time now to think. Like a lot of time. Holy smokes. Still thinking. Goodness me, he is really putting in the effort here to come up with something. Let's just hope it's explosive. Discourse again. Interesting. That's doable. So Discourse will send Casualty, which means during next prep stage they will get both casualties regardless of class. Interesting strategy. I'm not sure how good it is, but hey, I'm here to learn. Let's see what we got. Roll of 1. Again, ZweiStein running out of options, having to think. Honestly, I wouldn't be surprised if the judge does call slow play and just pauses the timer, but it is definitely a longer turn, I'm not going to lie. Bob's just going to have to make sure he doesn't lose focus here. So this time believing he's already misplayed after spending 15 minutes on it. Oh, we're going to go Barox. I'm not gonna lie, it's very disconcerting to see Barox, all these monsters in the back row, not the front row, but it's fine. I think, I don't know, it's weird. Barox is hitting the field. So that is definitely a very strong card here, but not a lot of cards in the Perish pile to work with. We'll have to see. 2 Vigilante, yeah, definitely another. Gonna go Intimidation to deal with the Phoenix. Definitely an important one to get rid of here. I guess ZweiStein could just beat over the Osaka, but I feel like that just helps Bob here. I don't know. I don't think Bob will be out this game. I think he's got plenty of ways to defend, but this is very unusual. Okay, Phoenix is gone. That's a big win there for ZweiStein. I'm not sure really what much Bob could have done there. Seeing as they can't use Oppression, they can't use much of their really power-ups considering the rolls are 1. This actually could be lethal here if Bob is not careful. That Barox has the ability to attack multiple times. This could be lethal if Bob is not careful. So he's going to specially move the Darius in the Perish pile, which will gain the original power of a Perish non-synergy. So that will make it 3,500 when it comes back later on in the game. And how do I know it's going to come back? Well, that's why Casualty has been added to ZweiStein's hand. This is a very unusual strategy from ZweiStein, but it might do the trick. So Oskip gets outed. I'm really surprised he didn't try to buff his monster now. I don't know. That was very unusual. Is Bob gone? Darius definitely has, or sorry, I should say Barox has, I think, only 1 more fodder, so that's not necessarily lethal, but it definitely will put Bob in a very scary position. Bob may not want to defend at all. It is a roll of 1, so ZweiStein can't necessarily expect that he'll be able to use all of his cards forever. We've got Tacticalism Impact, which will likely send the Tacticalism in his Asphalt of Perish pile to revive either a Phoenix, or you can play an Impact Warrior token. I imagine he'll go Phoenix here, but maybe not. I feel like we go Phoenix here. Ooh. Looks like we're going for the Impact Warrior. So ZweiStein will still be able to out this, which is really unfortunate. I think, honestly, if I was in Bob's position, I would just not have played anything. I think ZweiStein's going to attack, but maybe he'll pass. Maybe Bob will get lucky. I just think ZweiStein will just... waiting. Passing the turn. Okay, huge play there for Bob. Bob now has a huge opportunity to turn this match around. ZweiStein is passing the turn. Are they passing the turn? It's still... oh, there we go. Okay, cool. We're going to Bob. Alright, Bob is a 3,000 warrior token and a roll of 6. He's got no excuses now. He needs to start making the most of these rolls. Bob, I imagine, needs to get some health points to deal with these huts. But he also may just ignore him just because he's like... actually, he can remove the hut with Impact Phoenix, which will allow... oh, here we go. This is really good play here. What's the response? So we're going to play a Casualty onto the Barox now. Definitely Bob should use that Phoenix to deal with Warrior, because at that point... oh, sorry, pop Warrior to deal with the board, because even if it does bring out Casualty and all that shenanigans, at least you can get rid of Hut. Now the scary thing is, technically, ZweiStein can use Casualty to revive the Barox they lose, which is a very interesting little side part there, I believe. Let's see. Play 1 Vigilante monster from your deck. If there are no Vigilante monsters left in the deck, you may play 1 Vigilante monster from your Perish pile. Alright, so that's a 3,800 Impact Phoenix. We could just have them beat over things, but... Bob is also a little whiles away from getting that Impact from going off. Taking their time now. Again, in these pro tile matches, players will... Oh, holy smokes, we're going fire and smoke. Definitely expected, but it's going to be big. So basically what fire and smoke does is it gets 1,000 for each different type in your perish pile. To clarify, types would be stuff like your Otherworld, your Igneous, and for this guy he's got Otherworld and Fighter, but for every different type in the perish pile, which is currently going to be Apex, Otherworld, Fighter, Savage, Silver, Toxic Dragon, and Mythic Marine, we're looking at 9. I think we're looking at 10, maybe 11 potentially. It's gonna be interesting. Looks like 11,000 fire and smoke. Okay. Is it 12,000? Holy smokes. Is it 12,000? How did he get 12,000? He's got 9 in here, plus Noble, Mecha, Igneous. Is that it? Dang. That's crazy. 12,000 on a fire and smoke is unheard of. Wow, that is very impressive right there. That's very scary for ZweiStein. Coconut Hut to save the Dan. Good play, good play. But yeah, ZweiStein getting all this health is definitely going to be annoying for Bob. I would beat over the Barogs here and then try to take out whatever they play off of it. Which I imagine would just be another Barogs, but you could then beat over it again. We'll see though. So we're using Phoenix, taking out the Hut and Barogs. Barogs will activate from death, reviving a Vigilante. Interesting, he's going Darius. So the interesting thing about that is he technically could have chosen Barogs to revive itself again. But the only reason you might not is that the monster would not gain the power since it is a synergy. However, it is a 5,200. Pretty impressive there. It goes from, what was it, 35, it'd be what, 48? So that is a 4,800, which is definitely not enough to deal with fire and smoke. Great play here from Bob. Bob needs to really clean up here and take it out. I would 100% use fire and smoke, but the only reason he may not is the fact that there could be either a hammer down. Ooh, they're going Afflicted Avenger here. Great play from them, because what Afflicted Avenger is it's a random class 6, but what makes it so special is based on how many differently named monsters you have in your perish pile. If you have 2 different named monsters, it can't perish due to conflict. It can only perish due to conflict, sorry. If you have 3+ different named monsters, until it first perishes, its power can't be lowered. And then, if it has 6 different, you only must keep their hand revealed. So now we get to see exactly what's in ZweiStein's hand. We're looking at an interesting fire and smoke. We're looking at interesting visual intimidation. The sword is there as well. Crime partners. Looking at Gareth as well. A lot of options now for ZweiStein to respond with. This is going to be pretty scary. Bob is going to need to really think hard about how he approaches this next attack. He can't really afford to lose crime partners here. Let's see what he ends up going with. What will be the strategy going forward dealing with this kind of hand? So it does look like we are looking at a Beowulf Angel strategy. Now, of course, I think you may notice, if you are used to the game, you will notice that some of the... it's going to be kind of hard for them to get Beowulf out. I guess they could use Troy, but it's not necessarily guaranteed, so I'm not sure. We'll have to see here. Currently using Royal Blessing to draw it again, just for fun. This is going to be very interesting. A lot of strategy here that's going to be going down. They have to make the right decision, and they're facing so much potential resistance. Holy smokes. Let's see what happens next. Let's see what we're going for. Okay. What do we got? Bob having to weigh up their options. Again, generally most games are well into like the 11th, 12th turn by now. These guys are really taking their time. Obviously not looking to make any mistakes, but isn't it being a bit weird to be overly cautious? I mean, just the amount of strain that will put on your mind. Fleeted Avenger into Darius. Titan Destroyer Sword. 3,300. Drawing a card. Going into Oppression Destroyer Sword to play a second effect to get another Destroyer Sword. Titan Destroyer Sword boosting up to 4,800, but they're both the same now. Are they looking to crash? They're going to crash it. Looks like they're going to crash the Avenger into the Darius. And the great thing about this is they can't use determination here, or should I say, yeah, they can't use intimidation to lower it because of Afflicted Avenger's specialty. Kind of seems like an unfortunate state to lose such a strong card just to tie something. But, yeah. And they're going to hammer down the Darius. So now Darius drops down to its original. Now, of course, ZweiStein can respond to this. But will he? If he does, he'll be using the last regen he has. Okay. So specialty's back online. Now they're looking to crash again. But the scary thing is, if it is a crash, okay, it is a crash. Both are gone. That, I want to say, I don't know if it's a huge misplay, but losing that regen is going to be pretty costly for ZweiStein. They've got no other way to get regenerations, and they're still attacking for damage, which will drop ZweiStein to 4. Really well done from Bob there. Really huge advantage to get rid of that Darius. Oh, dear. That was really bad there. That's playing that regen. I mean, of course, it would have left Avenger alive, and I get that that would be a problem, but dang, I mean, losing regen, pretty costly there. One special move will Beowulf, and that's all shut off, so maybe there's something we're not aware of. Jared hits field. Playing card from hand. Going into Dylan. Dylan gets special removal online. Dylan is going to be a problem. Dealing with crime partners here is probably the go. Both players running out of deck. At least the game is still feeling like there is some sort of use, but they are playing heavy into the early turns, really slinging through their resources. Dylan special room crime partners as expected. Okay, Crime Partners is specialty moved until it perishes. Going Discourse to add the casualty back to hand. He's not forgetting. Definitely the benefits of playing slower. It is a good question. What do they do from here? They have nothing that is bigger than Phoenix. They can ram, I guess, with Dan. That Barox there off to the side is just a reminder of how powerful, or rather, I guess it's like, I don't know. How many turns it had left in play? Oh, is it multi-attack? I'm not sure why that note's there, gotta be honest, but must be something. Going into conflict. Dylan engaging Fire and Smoke. A regen here would be really good. But they're going to let it through. Wow. Letting Fire and Smoke go is definitely a scary moment. It is specialty active while in the perish pile, which could be really important for later. Have to find out. That is another big thing. We didn't see Otherworld modification in ZweiStein's hand, which means we are dealing with what we've got. And what that means is there are no surprises from ZweiStein other than what he's got left in the asset, but Bob still has plenty to work with. Passing the turn now to Bob. Bob gets to roll. Surely not another 6. Gets a 2. Much more regular turn there. Turn 6, roll 2. Let's see what we got. I'm going to go for Cannon Templar to send 2 cards. Cannon Templar would be really good for Crime Partners. But will he use it? Yeah, looks like they're going to send for specialty to play it out. Spending specialty debt. That's an interesting strategy. Special moving Dan, which will boost all vigilantes. Oh no, sorry. So that will drop the original power, the Phoenix, down to 1800. Still a little while before we can get that synergy impact to enough to use its tokens. Needs to hit 9 for that to start activating. Go into conflict. Templar dealing with Dan early is probably a good idea, but I'm not sure if it's the best strategy. It's going to engage Dan. Do we have a response from ZweiStein? A lot of options now. Do we have... Okay, we're gonna go in for Dan. Dan gets taken down. No casualty. Did they have a... I thought they had a casualty on that. I guess not. Now they're going casualty on the Dylan. This will give them any option to revive a bunch of different things. Very good for ZweiStein here. A little bit annoying for Bob, but Bob truly hasn't gotten to their full strategy yet. We'll have to see if they can pull it together. Darius again from the Perish pile. Darius, I believe, has his specialty intact. Roll of 6 now for ZweiStein. That is definitely what he needed to get Beowulf out. Beowulf is going to come out because he's bricking with that thing pretty badly. I bet you he plays Beowulf here. Knew it. 100% knew it. He needs a sword. Now that will get his asset online. Gosh, Bob is in a really tough position here. Losing that crime partners definitely was costly. Coconut Hut again. Once again, a very strong card. Surprising we haven't even seen any Marine Guards recently. I think people are starting to really remove those defensive cards from their decks. If he had it though, I mean, I guess the issue is you can't even get it back. Actually, that's the thing is, ZweiStein, Bob doesn't have the access to special move things, or at least that Beowulf now, which is pretty rough. A lot of different things they can special move. They can special move Darius, they can special move the Impact Phoenix, or they can special move the Templar. But at this stage, it's not quite sure this will end up. Wing it up now. Going Darius, going to 5,000. Let's see, 5,000 is very big right now. This is going to really suck, because Beowulf is going to get those cards in the asset pile. That's brutal. Dang, that is ruthless like there. So that'll get Beowulf up to 3,500 of the Phoenix. If Bob loses Phoenix, this could be it. Savage Jewel Shield. Okay, alright. Now we're in a good position here. Bob desperately needs to get to that Synergy Impact, because if he doesn't get there in time, if he loses Phoenix beforehand, I'm not sure how he survives. Phoenix Fist being discarded is interesting. Drawing 2 cards. Interesting choice there from Bob. You think he wanted to surprise or try to keep as many cards, but he must really need those cards left in his deck. Still weighing up their options now. I think we're at this point where if Bob does not make a moment right now, I think it's over. Bob's going to need to do something pretty impressive. Going to attack, hammer down. There will be no regen. That will be lower than Phoenix. Can't sort it. Intimidation drops him down to 0. He needs to take out this Darius now. Can Bob do it? Regens takes Phoenix up to 1800, which will be big enough to deal with Darius. No more regens left. Ooh, that's big. Okay, are both casualties gone? Yes, they are. Both intimidations are gone. Both discourses gone. Both regens gone. Almost both huts are gone. Ooh, man, that definitely kept things a little bit close. If Bob can get back a crime partners, they might be able to pull this off. Oh dear, this is really close. Okay, Templar engaging. They're gonna Divine Sword there. Oh no, that could be a really bad play from Zwei. That could be really bad. I don't think he would run 2 copies. I don't remember if he ran 2 copies. If he's not running 2 copies, I think that could be a really horrible play there, because if Crime Partners comes back, I don't think there's anything left in ZweiStein's deck that can deal with it. Or I should say, I mean his entire deck, including the acid pile in that case. But Beowulf is big and can get bigger. But Crime Partners surely be able to get enough additional. I don't know. Tough call. Tough call. Hammer down would have been good there. But I'm sure Bob will figure out something. And now Phoenix will be online soon. And that will deal with the huts. Okay, Jared is playing played. Do they wish to play a noble from deck or hand regards to class? Bob surely must have a strategy here, because if he doesn't, he is going to be in a lot of trouble. Going to play Alfred now. Alfred's spam with Beowulf is a massive problem. We saw this with Silver as they won the April 2023 Pro Tournament with this strategy, looping Alfred through Coconut Hut to supply infinite Beowulf revivals. Horrible thing to deal with. Bob is going to want to get rid of that immediately. We'll see what happens. I believe he will get the Impact Warrior, pop it, board wipe the entire field next turn. The question is, does he get a next turn? As for ZweiStein here, we may see ZweiStein just straight up go Beowulf, put everything into their asset, because I don't know if they have really much left that is actually useful in their hand. Okay, so Phoenix is back up to 38. Which means even 3 cards in asset won't be enough to get over it with Beowulf. Unless Beowulf has second sword. Going Darius. Darius is being played. Oh, Null Factor. Okay, Null Factor. That's going to be rough. Oh, that's rough. Yeah, that's really bad. He will drop it to original power now. Going to conflict. Is this it for big time Bob? Will the rain end here? Is this it? Going against him. Will there be a response from Bob? Does Bob have a way to block this? If he does not, this game changes forever. Bob is in a horrible position right now. having to deal with multiple attackers. It is not yet lethal if he lets all this through, which is a benefit. But losing Phoenix will be huge. Gigantic to not be able to use the board wipes. I'm not going to lie, that'll be really bad. Let's see though. He might figure it out. There might be some way he can pull it together. But I have a feeling things are about to get wild. Regen! Did they have... I thought they used all their regens. Turns out they did not. Okay, Darius is gone. That definitely shuts things off in a very big way. Okay, Bob has the ability to deal with the entire board. Okay, now we're online. Phoenix is online, boys! We've waited a whole hour! But now... Okay, we got this impact now, which can bring out the tokens. It's at a counter of 9, technically, instead of 8. Roll of 6. If Bob has crime partners, now is the time to reveal it. Bob has to go all out right now. He could risk losing the entire game. This is it. Can he hold his title? Can he pull it together? No more power drops from ZweiStein, I believe, unless he's got a second sword, but I have a feeling he doesn't. Phoenix is looking strong with a potential board wipe. Dealing with that Coconut Hut is an absolute must. If he does not deal with the Coconut Hut, that'll be a huge problem. And he still had Jared, which could have attacked the Phoenix, but it would have been too weak. So definitely proves ZweiStein has nothing in hand big enough, or no sort of power-ups. Bob needs to board wipe this entire field. Get rid of it, deal with it, don't allow him to put stuff in the asset, leave him without anything, and try to attack and try to build some sort of preparation. Because when Chosen Angel Beowulf rolls through, it's going to be a problem. But he's definitely going to take his time here, because any mistake is crucial. And even now, there is probably a way he can pull off a win. It's just, can he? So we're going to go Impact Warrior. Coconut Hut will save Jared. Good play from ZweiStein. We'll give him 4,600 Jared next turn. Good play. But Bob needs to get rid of the Coconut Hut. That is a huge priority. The issue is Willie. He may not think it's worth it now because you don't get rid of Jared. Now we've hit the 1 hour mark. Goodness me. Or rather, we're about to, but you know, it's technically been an hour since the game start time, so it has been a long one as expected. Definitely, yeah. If you're looking for in-depth strategy, this is going very well, but in terms of excitement, I will say it is definitely a long one. Now, Bob needs special move for the Beowulf, and Bob needs to deal with that Coconut Hut. He doesn't have health to deal with the Coconut Hut, and if he did gain the health, he'd probably want to use it on maybe another world modification, but does he even have that card? We don't even know. It's really all up in the air. What we do know is he's going to be taking his time here. A lot of slow thought going into this matchup. Bob is going to have to think through this very carefully. He's taking his time, weighing up the options. This is definitely a long one. Go into conflict. Choosing not to use the specialty of Phoenix. That's an interesting strategy from Bob. They must have some way to keep Phoenix alive. Definitely was not expected from... I bet you ZweiStein did not expect that. So we're going to go Warrior into the Beowulf here. Good play. Takes out Beowulf. This is really interesting. I did not expect that. I thought Phoenix would surely activate, going in for 1 damage, which will not even be lethal. ZweiStein can afford to take it. There's no reason not to take it, because there's literally no point in... Why is he trying to defend this? Why is he defending? This is so weird, man. Why would you waste a Gareth? So we're going to set it to original. I don't know why, though. It just... You still take the damage. What does it matter? I don't know. This is weird, man. This is very, very weird. That's very weird. Just being honest. This is a very weird scenario. Roll of 5. ZweiStein Precarious? I don't know. I think ZweiStein's got this, to be honest. But maybe I'll be proved wrong. I mean, ZweiStein has lost a lot of asset. That Alfred Scoom going back is going to be really annoying. Going into Jared. Okay, and Alfred's going to be a total of, what is that, 1,500? Yep. Coconut Hut again. Sending the Alfred. That gives them permanent revival with the Beowulf. Yeah, this unfortunate loss of asset will prevent Bob from really having the tools to deal with Beowulf right now. We are in sudden death, and Beowulf has come out. Any wounding is lethal. Going into conflict. I just thought of something really nasty Bob could do right now, but I don't know if he has the ability to do it. If he does, then that's going to be amazing. Oh, my thoughts are, if he has a specialty dat, and if he can Savage Shield, if he can block this, and then use specialty dat, and then board wipe the next turn, is he letting it through? Oh man, I don't know, man. This looks like it could be it. But I'm thinking like specialty dat. If he has a specialty dat, there we go. Savage Shield. Okay, if he has a specialty dat, ZweiStein has no way to block the turn, and then he can board wipe, killing Phoenix, not Phoenix, killing Beowulf, unable to revive. Roll of 2. If he has specialty dat, this game is, I believe, over. Does he have specialty dat? Does he have specialty dat? I guess Trouble Hammer is a thing. Does he have specialty dat? Does he have specialty dat? Oh man, this is intense. Does he have specialty dat? You're gonna need specialty dat. If you can shut that off, I think. ZweiStein might have Trouble Hammer though. Does he have specialty dat? Oh man, this is tough. Off the board with Phoenix. Okay, so no debt there, interestingly. Coconut Hut is gone. Beowulf will die. Okay, so Alfred will no longer have the boost anymore. And it's just been sent to revive Beowulf. Going for another token now. Ah, dear. This is really intense. Does Bob have an ability or have a way to force some sort of win here? This is going for lethal. Going for lethal. Obviously, ZweiStein will have the response playing Beowulf. Now we're deep into it. Okay, he's gonna be at 5,000 with 2 attacks. This could be it. Is the reign over? Just before it begun. This could be it. Passing it over. ZweiStein has Beowulf online. Roll of 2. ZweiStein playing faster now. A lot of attacks now. Okay, here we go. I'm gonna go coconut. Coconut Hut again. Oh, they revived it. Okay, so there we go. Okay. Laying it up. Gosh, this game is going very long. Going into the Phoenix now. Phoenix is gone. Does Pop have a way to win this match is the question. Going over Warrior now. Does Bob have a way to save Warrior? Warrior is gone. Kaleidos going for lethal is this game. Otherworld modification. Allows them to play a non-asset monster from the Perish Pile. Then that monster gains 950 power and its type becomes Otherworld Mecha. When it next perishes, Bob will lose 5 health. Which means, when Bob loses Fire and Smoke, he will lose the game. Betting it all on one last shot. 12,950. Is there any chance that Bob can pull off this win? Beowulf goes back, raising in strength. Is there any way Bob can hold on? If Bob does not lose this Beowulf, if he doesn't lose the Crime Partners, he can win the game. And ZweiStein will be trying to get above that fire and smoke. But he needs to out that Coconut Hut. Beating over Clytus. Okay, going to losing Clytus potentially. The champion on his last legs, betting it all on this one last fire and smoke. Does ZweiStein have a way to beat over it? Clytus is gone. ZweiStein weighing up further options. Goodness me, this has got to be one of the longest title matches in history. Let's see ZweiStein weighing up further options. Okay, Beowulf hits field. So for Bob to win, he needs to shut off Beowulf. Can he do it? Unfortunately, ZweiStein has basically a permanent... Going to conflict. Did he just lose Alfred? He just lost Alfred! Holy smokes. He stuffed it! Oh, he forgot Alfred! Oh my gosh, he forgot Alfred. Did he? He forgot Alfred, right? Yeah, he forgot Alfred. Oh, there's a sword. But it's not necessarily over. It's not necessarily over. 6,700. If he can get above 6,700. Does he have a way? If he could use double oppression... Even with infantry oppression, he could loop it. He could make it work. Can he make it work? Oppression, go to 2,000. 2,000. Infantry. This is actually quite doable. Yeah, they need to drop it down to 2,000. So it's not winning the conflict, it just drops it down to 0. So now it's at 4,000 with infantry. If infantry can grab another thing, it's not necessarily over. Does ZweiStein have any Titan destroyers? I don't think he does. So Cursebrick is an interesting choice here. Another infantry. Holy smokes, guys. Oppression gets even bigger and bigger. 8,000. It's bigger than Beowulf. Oh, snap! That's ruthless! Oh, Conquistador shuts it down. Oh, that's nasty. And that is game. ZweiStein wins the match, and Bob dies to his own Otherworld modification. Congratulations, ZweiStein. You are now a 5-time pro champion. Well done. This has been Tom. That was a long one, but it was a part of history. See you guys later. Have a good one.